Gen yon série de mots, c'est pour yon catégorie yo existe. Bonheur, joie, contentement à gaieté.
Back again with another video. Today's video is going to be about Maldicion. Now, Maldicion, some people pronounce it as Maldicion in Creole, but the correct pronunciation is Maldicion, you know. But this wording here means curse. There's basically when you're talking about voodoo, it's not something that's really spoken about too much. This is just a cultural norm, you know. This is a cultural thing. It has nothing to do with voodoo itself, but it is a what you would say, affaire mystique, or a mystical thing itself, you know. Basically, when you're talking about Maldicion, it is the way of cursing oneself or cursing others intentionally or unintentionally. You know, see, the thing is, you can be in a situation where you get upset and you're saying, you can get upset and you start thinking things or saying things that you wish would happen to this person, you know what I'm saying, you know, and then it happens. It may not happen at that moment. It may happen weeks down the line, you know, basically based off of what you desired, you know, what you felt at the moment, that radiated and caused a chain reaction, and it caused circumstances to arise. And that we can say unintentionally, you know, because this wasn't this person didn't intentionally, you know, think that his words would have, or her words would have a great impact on physical scenarios in another person's life. Now, that same condition or that same scenario or that same thing or what was done, you know, can be directed in a, let's just say, in a direct sense, you know, where it is intentional, you know. So, you know, basically it can be intentional and it can be unintentional, you know. So if a person goes out and wishes ill on another with the intention that this is what they want to happen, it is still in the family of Maldicion, you know. Basically, it can take another sense of, you can just basically be wishing, you could be wishing, you could be trying to prevent someone from experiencing something bad, and by them actually saying that in a good, even in a good, by you just talking it up, you know, basically, like sometimes a person can be speaking to someone, they say, oh, we just spoke this person up, you know, you didn't have an intention of bringing that person up, but it just brought the person, you know, why you said that person walks up. See, the carnal mind will basically say, that's just a scenario, that's just a coincidence, you know. It's not a coincidence when you look at everything from a spiritual perspective, you know. So on a negative, you know, on a negative note, you can be wishing good for the person where you tell them, look, put your wallet in your pocket because, hey, someone might steal it. Just by you saying that, that could potentially draw that scenario where that person, all of a sudden, a couple hours later or a week later, someone steals their wallet, you know? So I've actually heard that, you know, in certain traditions, you know, that, you know, well, I think I've actually heard, I believe, Christian, well, I remember I heard this from a Jewish person. They told me that if you say certain negative, you want to put God forbid behind it or something like that, you know, or what was Christian or something like that, you know. They told me put God forbid behind certain things because you do not want that scenario to actually arise, you know. So this is Maldicion. Now, when we're talking about Maldicion, I can't not talk about the names of spirits, you know, the names of spirits, because in that family of wording, it is the same thing, you know, as basically using words of power, because certain words of power can be good and some words of power can be bad, you know. Names are words of power, you know. You can say names, certain spiritual names, you know, basically, even if you have some knowledge of Catholicism, you've actually heard that debate, you know, when you're doing exorcisms to get the name of the spirit, you can actually cast the spirit out of the person. If you've basically done your Egyptian studies, you know that if you have the name of a spirit, then you can control it, you know. Now, the thing is not stated, much around today is that you got to watch out with mentioning names of spirits, because the names of them channels their energy into your environment. By you basically mentioning their name, you are basically summoning them. You don't have to do a long conjuration. Just by them actions, you can potentially bring them around. Now, I'm going to give you guys an example so you know how deep this stuff is. Basically, we had a scenario where a female I met with was talking about she had a prayer to basically transform into a werewolf. Now for me, I was like, I already know about shape shifting and stuff like that. So for me, I looked at it like, you don't know what you're talking about, crock of shit whatsoever, So I guess her mind, she was thinking about physical shape shifting, but for me, I already know. I already have my views on that. But I wrote her off. But I let her say what she needed to say. But while she was saying that, I noticed something. Suddenly, someone started trying to crank their car, and their car wouldn't turn over. It was cranking, but it wouldn't turn over. So I said, as a person who has worked with spirit and had work backfire them, and I've had many car problems, especially when working with spirits, I put 2 and 2 together. Like that scenario, she said that, then I heard that. So I put those 2 scenarios together. Now, someone says, okay, whatever. That could be coincidental. So I had a friend the next day, she had a dream. In the dream, they told her not to mention a certain word, like a specific word, a specific name of a deity, So anyhow, I take upon myself in a conversation, talk with a female to mention that spirit's name. Seconds later, I'm standing next to my car. I know I unlocked the door, I unlock it, I close it whatsoever, because I need to go inside or whatever, let the heat start up whatsoever in the car. So I walk back to the car. I realize the door is locked with my keys in there and the car is running. So I have my own technique to get inside my car when I lock myself out. I'm used to, doing this technique. It's been months since I've been using this technique. Nothing ever happened. So I actually go to do the technique to open up the car, to get in my car. What happens is that the latch actually breaks. The latch actually breaks. So that right there, to get it fixed, it's going to cost me money. So this is just to let you know the gravity of how the situation can arise by mentioning certain names. See, that was just minor. Now imagine if I said something even deadlier. Like, let's just say a name that's that's known to cause like problems. Like, think of the worst. If I would have said that, anything could happen. Within the next couple of seconds, I could probably get a phone call. Something just happened to someone. See, this is a risk that a person's taking by mentioning certain spirits' names that especially you have no dealings with, So it becomes something very important that a person has to do. Watch out with the words you say, and watch out what names you use in your conversations. That's why you realize that people that are in the Jewish tradition, they barely mention the name of their deity. They may use words like the Holy One or the Most High. They'll never mention his name. Or if they see, I've actually heard, if they see the name of their deity somewhere, they bypass it, or they don't even mention it, or they say something else. That is because they recognize the power of names. So with that said, I conclude this video. I hope this video was very informative. Like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.
Et tout le monde va joindre même chaleur.